Hello everyone, this is the Workington Town Council Planning Committee meeting of the 1st of February 2021. So we'll just start on the agenda. Public participation. I don't think there's any members of the public present.
Apart from Mark Jenkinson, I don't know whether he's considered a member of the public.
I think he is. Item 1 on the agenda is to receive any apologies. I believe we've got 3, Catherine.
Yeah, we've got Councillor John Hunter, Councillor Stephen Stoddart, and Paul Scott has said he's sending his apologies, but he might be able to attend a little bit later because he's in a meeting at the minute. And that's it, there's just a 3.
I'll accept those apologies.
Thank you.
And if Paul does come on, you can just let him in at any time, that's fine.
Yeah, no worries.
Item 2, declarations of interest. To receive any declarations of interest relating to matters on the agenda. Does anybody have any? None.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Item 3, exclusion of the press and public. To consider whether there are any agenda items during consideration of the press and public should be excluded. There isn't any.
No.
Item 4, minutes of the last meeting. I propose the minutes of the last council meeting of the 5th of January and affirm them to be true.
Herbert seconding them, I think. Yeah, Herbert seconding them. Okay.
Item 5, consultation, housing development, Stainburn. To consider the proposed street names for a new build housing development in Stainburn. So this is the, I believe this is the Genesis Homes.
I think so. Yeah. Do you want me to read out the proposed names?
Yeah, would you be able to put the plan on as well, Catherine?
I can, because I've got it here. Where is it? Oh dear. There you go. That's the site plan. And the proposed names are Meadow Walk, Lakeland View, Meadow View, and Faries Field. I don't know how to pronounce that, which way they're going to pronounce that one.
Catherine, sorry, we've got the list of them, but not the actual site plan open. I don't know if anyone else can see it or if it's just me.
No, we've just got your screen, Catherine. You've opened the wrong.
No, it's not on my screen. The site plan's there. Can you not see that?
No. It's the file PDF, which
how weird is that? Sorry, just let me see if it, because on mine it's come up. Wait there, just let me do that. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Does anybody have any issues with what they're going to be calling the streets? No.
Is everyone okay if I take that down now?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. There's no hands up.
So item 6 is the planning reforms. So Mark Jenkinson's going to be given a bit of talk regarding the recent planning reforms. If he's
He's
available.
not here at the minute. Yeah.
So should we just move on?
Yeah, wait for him to come from his meeting.
We don't have to wait, like. So item 7 is the planning applications. To consider the following planning applications received from Allerdale Borough Council and Cumbria County Council. So number 1 is HOU/2021-0021, 36 Ruskin Close. Proposed first floor extension above existing garage, including taking off existing roof to house and replacing to accommodate extension.
Okay. That's it. Okay. Is everyone okay with that if I take that down?
What do you think of it, Hilary?
Has there been any neighbour objections to the council?
Not that I've seen. I've been in and there's nothing there on the Allerdale site.
Yeah, that's fine. I have no objections to it at all. Herbert?
No, I did receive notification. I've been up that way and had a look, and there's quite a bit of distance between the houses. And as far as I'm aware, there's no neighbours objected.
So we say no objections on that, and then number 2.
Yeah, I'll just put that up now.
WTPO Tree Protection Order 2021 0005 11 Briary Acres. 1 sycamore tree to be trimmed with a 30% crown reduction, rotten branch removal.
Can I just ask, Chair, is there anything to say that it's trimmed, that it's rotten? Because we've had applications before where they've said it's rotten, but we haven't actually had anything to prove that it's rotten.
On the site, sorry, there's a report from a tree surgeon.
Right, sorry, I haven't looked at that.
Is it okay if I take that down?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think if it's been
Sorry, Hillary's got her hand up, Blaine.
all right.
Hillary, you're on mute.
Basically, I lost connection again then for about 1.5 minutes. So I don't know what we're doing now, what we're on now.
It's on the second one. Do you want me to put this
Yes,
thing back
please.
up,
I didn't
Blaine?
have to say, I just went, I forget.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the tree protection order, Hillary.
Yeah.
1 sycamore tree to be trimmed with a 30% crown reduction and rotten branches removed.
Okay. Okay, I have no problem with that.
Sorry, Blaine, just so you're aware, Mark Jenkinson's joined the meeting.
All right, well, if you want to pass the meeting over to Mark, we'll resume on number 3 once Mark's done.
Okay, is that for me to come in? Sorry, Blaine, yeah?
Yeah, Mark, yeah.
Excellent. All right. How we just, sorry, I just need to see who we've got. Is this the planning committee, is it?
Yeah.
Right, sorry, I'd lost my notes and I wasn't sure if it was full council or planning committee tonight. I just wanted to take the opportunity to speak to you about the planning reforms, or to answer any questions about the planning reforms, proposed planning reforms, I should say. Just because I've seen a lot written and heard a lot of nonsense, if I'm honest. So I don't know how much anybody knows about them. I don't know if you want me to speak for a couple of minutes about them first.
Yeah.
Could you please, yes, through the chair, yes, please, be very grateful if you would.
Okay, so there's a white paper published back in the autumn, went out for consultation on reforms to the planning system, which hasn't been reformed it hasn't had a major overhaul in 6 decades. Some of you, I'm not sure who now sits on the development panel, but some of you will sit on Allerdale's development panel as well, and will be well aware of the challenges. I was on and off the development panel for 5 years, and it was my portfolio. So there are some proposed reforms that would streamline the system for sort of pre-approved development. It would encourage greater public involvement much earlier. So I don't know if anyone, by the time, you're probably looking at some planning permissions tonight. The problem you've got is you will make some representations, and if there hasn't been a problem with procedure or adherence to the National Planning Policy Framework and the local plan, then you're going to struggle to make the argument that this is the wrong development in the wrong place, or it needs some infrastructure, or whatever it might be. What the proposals what the proposal is to encourage much greater public participation in the local plan, to have everything digitized, so you can everything's online at the minute. The local plan's a 400-page document, well, 2 big documents that you download as a PDF, and that's about as digital as it gets. There will be areas classed as growth, renewal, and I can't remember the third term, but basically it's protected areas. So you can, the local community assigns protections, whether it's green belt or heritage or whatever it is, in the growth area. And then what would happen is that at a hyper local level, probably your level for Workington, for example, you would create, well, even lower, you would create design codes that says in this growth area, you want to see whether it's houses, whether it's flats, but you want them to look like this. You want them to have particular energy efficiency measures or accessibility measures, whatever it might be, right down to a very detailed level. And then if someone comes along to build in that area, they effectively are, as long as they build to your design code, they are effectively pre-approved. It streamlines that situation. But then you have more involvement in, say, renewal areas, and the protected areas are protected. So any proposals would have to go through a process similar to what we do now. There is a proposal for mandatory biodiversity net gain. So we changed the National Planning Policy Framework to attract biodiversity net gain, if you like, but we're going to mandate minimum biodiversity net gain on every development. So every development must enhance biodiversity. I'm trying to think what else the other strands were. Community infrastructure levy. So at the minute, we don't levy a community infrastructure levy in Allerdale. I think South Lakes do, possibly the only one in Cumbria. If we did, there would be a set amount according to the size of the development. And if Workington Town Council had what they call a neighbourhood plan, for which there's funding available to produce them, by the way, and I would encourage you to do so, then you would automatically get, I think, 15% of the community infrastructure levy for your priorities. What the trouble is at the minute, and I talked at great length about this, we're worried if we introduce a community infrastructure levy in Allerdale and it's not right across the board, then we worry that developers won't, it'll make developments less viable. And you'll have seen the position that we're in with financial viability assessments. We agree a Section 106 agreement, we agree £200,000 for schools and a bit of traffic and this, that and the other. And then the developer comes back and says, I can't make 20% profit or 25% profit. Therefore, I want you to reassess the viability and reduce my £200,000 education contribution to £100,000. This happens all too often, and we need to move away from this position where, and I speak as a capitalist, but if a developer wants to make 20% and can't, then move aside and someone might come in that will make 18 or 17. Let our schools and infrastructure shouldn't suffer just because a developer can't protect that 20%. So the proposal is for an application of a UK-wide, England-wide levy, so that councils, local authorities can plan ahead with some confidence. We are prioritising brownfield sites, and we're going for infrastructure first where we can as well. So we know, again, the 100th house is no good if you've had 20 kids come up and the schools are bursting, because we've got to wait till 100 houses are occupied before we get the 200,000. We've seen in Cumbria estates of 600 houses stop at 199 houses because at the 200th they've got to build a school. So it's to try and get around some of that. But I'm happy to take any questions. I think the biggest thing that I've seen is that it'll reduce community involvement. And my take on that is actually the problem you've got now is if you try and object to something, you will come up against all sorts of hurdles as long as the developer can say that they have followed the local plan and the national plan and policy framework. We need that engagement should have been done at local plan stage, which you will have been as a council, but individuals on a street tend not to have been involved unless they're planning nerds. No offence to any planning nerds. So it's just, the point is that we engage those people much earlier. We create those hyper-local design codes so we know what to expect. And anything that deviates from that goes to panels and such like as we see now. But I'm happy to take any questions. Right, am I to field the questions? Yeah.
Has anybody got any questions they want to ask?
Could I come in here, please, Sean?
Yeah.
Yes, excuse. Hello, Mark, there on that one. Yeah, basically, over the years, we suggested there on that one, all we've been seeing in my area in particular is just building of houses. They're not building homes where it incorporates the community. Lack of consideration for schools, or any other kind of school, even a community hall, on shops. It's all just building houses, and that isn't what people want. But I can't see anything here that's suggesting we are going to have a kind of a say in this matter. There's nothing really changed in this matter because we've been out of consultations, as you very well know, Mark, and very often they're not really taking any notice of. So I'm a little bit disappointed, actually, that the changes aren't going to all that distance.
So on the changes, I would say that local involvement, that hyper-local involvement, that design code, local neighbourhood plans, that's where those things need to be. And you're right, at the minute we're fighting, we have to fight a battle for every pound that we get. I had a meeting on Friday about particularly Harrington schools, Bexton School, St Mary's, and Section 106 contributions, because you've got a housing development up there in for planning again, 125 houses, is it, that's in? And the county council are really struggling. Those kids are going to effectively, although it doesn't work like that. Those kids are effectively going to be sent to Dizzyton School because Dizzyton's got places and it's within the 2 miles. Well, we need to, that's where we need, and that's the way it's currently set up, but that's why we need that local involvement much earlier on to say, well, you know what, if this area of Harrington's going to be a growth area, if we know that there's going to be housing, Harrington's really, really popular, much in the same way as Seaton, then this is what the community want to see. And it needs this road, it needs whether it's a bypass, whether it's a school, whether it's a community hall, whether it's shops. That's why we need local involvement much earlier on in the process. That needs to be, Harrington has a local plan, a neighbourhood plan, and this is what Harrington residents want to see. It'll have been out to consultation in Harrington, not in Allerdale, not in Workington, in Harrington, and that's what Harrington people want to see, and that's what we need to fight for then.
Yeah, okay, Mark, I appreciate what you just said. I understand it. But over the last 10 years, I think we've seen an input of houses only, nothing else been involved. And it doesn't seem to me, and we keep saying we want no more houses because obviously your infrastructure, your roads, the traffic, the fumes, the poison, the lack of schooling, the pressure on our sewage, water service, water there on that and causing flooding. There's none of this being taken into account over the last few years, and I can't see that happening because there's another 250 houses to be built along the A597 up near Winds Farm. So what you're saying now isn't really playing out.
So I'm talking about proposals that aren't, that won't be law until probably 2022 at the earliest, I would think. So that's why I'm a fan of, that's why I agree, that's why I'm a fan of the proposals. But in the meantime, what I would say to you is we need to work together, all the Harrington councillors, if it's, if there's Harrington Development, Salterbeck councillors, because that'll affect, one of the same at Allerdale level, I suppose, but those Salterbeck and Harrington need that school provision that we're really going to struggle with these developments. So we need to, and I'm happy to fight for that. You just need to put it on my radar if it's not already there, because I'm not going to say I'm fully aware of every planned application that's there. So just make sure you speak to me about it, and we'll fight together for that.
Okay. Thanks very much, Matt. Thank you.
I can see Herbert, Sean and Janet have hands up.
Janet was first, sorry.
Hi, Mark. I'm sort of in agreement with Hilary to an extent, because Stainburn, again, in the past, we've got so many houses, we've got absolutely no facilities, no community halls. So we're building sort of communities that aren't communities because we've no way of, can people please put their mutes on? There's no way of creating a community. The nearest we've got to that is actually having a notice board, so I can just get information out there, because there's nowhere to put stuff. So it's just that really. And we've got another new estate that we've just been talking about tonight that's been approved. And the problem with that is not only is more houses with fewer facilities, but it affects the infrastructure, the roads. And the county council don't appear to want to take that on. There's some houses just round the corner from the Briery on a terrible bend, huge risk as they go in and out of their drives. And I've tried to get something done and they don't want to know. So there's all those aspects to take account of. But can I also ask about the neighbourhood plan? You said there's funding for that. How would we go about that?
Let me check on the specifics of that. When we were looking at it, Seaton, there was up to £10,000 available. So I'll check on that and make sure it is actually still current as well. But I think we envisage that many more neighbourhoods will take up these neighbourhood plans as part of the new proposals. So let me come back to you on that one.
Great.
I agree on Stainburn. Stainburn is probably the perfect example of where we build housing estates and not communities, because you know, no offence to Stainburn, but there is a pub, there isn't a shop. You know, the bus, to my knowledge, only goes down the main road. I remember when Story were building the first big estate, we managed, they were shutting off the whole of Moorlands Drive for 3 weeks to put sewage pipes in, and it took, I was off on my 18 days, and it took me threatening to lie down in a public meeting, threatening to lie down in front of the diggers to stop them doing anything, for them to engage with residents and get that altered. So you're right, Stainburn is often, residents of Stainburn have often been an afterthought as Stainburn grows, and we need to do more there. It literally, I mean, it's a village without any facilities, to my mind. But again, hopefully neighbourhood plans, planning reforms can address some of that. But again, what I would suggest is that anything that comes up, let's work together. If you're going to issue with the county council, let's let them know that we're working together to, you know, because if they divide us, then that's how they can conquer us. So,
is that something you could help with if I've not made any progress?
just email me a summary and we'll get onto it, Janet.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much. Great. Thank you.
I've got Herbert and Sean with hands up. Don't know who was. I think Catherine tried to talk there. You're on mute.
I've just realised I muted myself here.
Herbert.
Yeah, good evening, Mark. You've basically just summed Harrington up there when you described Stainburn. It's got a main road that runs right through it, and it's got a bus that runs down Church Road. It's got one pub up at the top of Harrington. It's got one pub further down the road that hasn't been built, and one pub on Church Road and one on the marina. No bus infrastructure at all onto the estates. But yet the meadows, that was sort of planned and built before it became a council. I'm told there's still a hell of a lot more houses to go up there that there already is up there. I don't know if it's right that they've got plan permission to go right back to as far as Smith factories. I don't know if that's right or wrong. But with this other development, you've also got people that have objected to this by Allerdale and yourself. I know I've had 6 letters of complaint, and 2 of them have said they've wrote it, but had no response. The 2.
Sorry, I missed that bit. You cut out there, Herbert, for me. Sorry, just repeat that.
Absolutely terrible.
It's terrible.
Aye.
I don't know why.
No.
Chair, can I just say, sometimes you get interference when people are not muted, and there's a few of us that aren't. So I'm just...
Everyone mute yourself unless you're speaking, eh?
I think it's echoing in that room that you're in. That's what it is.
I'll go for a walk then.
Should I take Sean's question while Herbert?
No, is that better? Is that better?
Right, yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, what I was saying about the development up at the Meadows, I'm told that there is still a lot of houses to be built up there, go as far back as Smith factories. And then we've got the development up at Wins Farm, which is also 125 houses. I know for a fact that 6 people have complained to myself and Allerdale. I also know that 2 have wrote an email to me, Allerdale and yourself, a reference flooding that will come into their garden because they've got a stream that's going to run down, and they're going to build a man-made reservoir on this estate, which, will not floods, is going to tap into the local beck. Now, if that taps into that, they've already had 2 floods in the last 10 years. The results are going to be catastrophic for them, and no insurance company will touch them if they've got a man-made reservoir coming into a beck that runs through their garden. Now, that's through no fault of their own. One of the other complaints was that he lives in a bungalow and they're building 2- and 3-story houses right at the back of his back fence. So they're going to look right into his living room. Surely that can't happen. I mean, it knocks the value of his house down for a start. It cuts his privacy out. Probably lived there for 30 years, never expecting this to happen. I know they have objected, and I just wondered if you have had the objections, and they're saying they have, and you haven't replied. That's all I'm asking, really.
Well, if they're any more than a few days ago, a couple of weeks, maybe even back to the start of the year, then it is possible. If it's any further than that and I haven't replied, then we've got a problem, because I don't recall them off the top of my head. But of course, we get thousands of pieces of casework, so I'd have to look. But what I'll do, but we'll go away and look. Maybe if you can send me a summary of what you think, who you think might have emailed, and we'll look for it. On the approval that was given, 80 houses were approved. I don't know how many's up there now, but 80 were approved in 2014.
Fish the Meadow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we got outline approval in 12 and then full approval in 14. That sounds about right, doesn't it? Just checking it is the right one. This land at Main Road.
The Armstrongs will probably have an option to buy on the land, eh?
Yeah, that's
the one I've
quite
actually applied for commissioner out on it yet. But you get what's called an option to buy, eh?
That's quite possible. So of course that would have to come for approval. There are some issues. So again, these are familiar issues. These SUDS systems and flooding, similar to what we've fought for a long time at Seaton. My house was built in 14 and in 50 with a flood risk assessment, and in 15 I came within 3 inches of flooding because we had more water in that Storm Desmond week and weekend. It was before the weekend that I nearly flooded because it was surface water. It was Thursday night. We had more rain than that, more water come down than any of the figures in the flood risk assessment. So EA have updated the figures. Cumbernauld County Council, I think, are a bit better, but you're right, it's an issue, and I'm happy to take that up. But again, these are the type of things that need to be discussed. We need to use that local knowledge in local neighbourhood plans, rather than have to fight it. Because the trouble is, if you go to panel with that saying exactly what you've just told me, panel will go, well, experts said it's okay, so we have to take experts' advice. I've seen this so many times in panel, but write to me on those specific issues and we'll take them up. But I'm sorry if we haven't got back to anyone, but that shouldn't be the case. We're normally within 2 or 3 weeks. I think
it was a guy called John Moore. What I'll do, I'll look his email up and I'll forward it to you.
If you would, cheers. Sean?
Yes, good evening. It's just to ask you, Mark, the proposed housing development that they're building down Westfield Drive and the 106 agreement, which you spoke about this evening, sorry. Is it possible that we can have half or 50%, which have been told, of the 106 agreement up front for the player park to be started? Also, can you confirm, if this housing development does go ahead, is there going to be road restrictions put in place, i.e. sleeping policemen, speed restrictions?
So, let me just try and pull this up. So is this on the old welfare?
It is, yeah.
Is there an application gone in? So I haven't seen this. So there's an application gone in for the welfare.
Well, the welfare's gone down. It's been demolished now.
Yeah.
And there's housing development plans going through that say Allerdale are going to build there themselves.
Yeah.
And there's a play park going on the bottom of Westfield Drive and Moss Bay on the corner.
Okay. Let me just try and pull it up on the map.
We can have 50% from ABC, which is great, but we just need to know what 50% is. I've actually had a meeting this week with Play Days from Ulverston, who are going to provide figures for fittings and apparatus by the 14th of this month, which I will submit and see where we can get. Catherine knows all about it. She's going to take them to Deakins, I believe. It's just trying to get a few reinsurances from yourself.
Right. So obviously I'm not Allerdale. I have nothing to do with the planning, but I'm happy to make these representations. Looking on the map, I can't see there's an application. Have you had plans through for housing development?
I've seen the plans, yes.
So all I can see on here is the flattening of the community centre. So, but I do know that when it was my portfolio, that there was plans to build on there, and we fought tooth and nail with Stephen to ensure there was a play park. I'm not sure where this proposed play park is on the plans that you've seen, but we even tried to, because
at the bottom of Westfield Drive, you know,
on the corner.
On the corner, there's a rockery there with shrubs and things in. To there, there's the end of the grass with the banking coming down. It's there. It's there.
So that, I think that move to there came off the back of conversations with Stephen Stoddart and trying to move it to an area where we might be able to do it before the housing development. That is the council, not the developer, but that's by the by at the minute. So Working Town Council might have been interested, was the discussion that we had. So those discussions on 106 agreements, if there's an application just gone in or about to go in, now is the time to have them. What was your other? You said play park, and you wanted funding up front, or 50% up front.
Yeah, apparently we can have 50% of the funding from ABC. Which is fine. Nobody knew what the 50% was going to be. So, as I say, I've had a meeting this week with a company called Playdale from Ulverston.
Yeah.
They are going to provide costings by the 14th of this month, which I will forward to Catherine. We can take to see where we go.
Okay.
Reassurance from yourself that this can be done. It would be nice to get something done before, just for once, before these housing developments get put up, and have something in place.
So yes, it is possible if the developer agrees and all the parties involved agree. So that would probably be, I'm assuming that you might take on a play park or even provide, I don't know what the discussions you've been having. Where's the other 50% coming from? Is that?
Well, we're looking to do that funding from the town council and maybe
So you would want, so rather than the developer put up a play park like they sometimes do, you would want 50% of the cost up front, so you can get on and do it. You would own it, you would manage it.
Yes.
With your other play parks.
I don't want a swing and a rock and horse mark.
I agree. And this was, again, I've been involved in the later stages of the Persimmon fight. And that really was a fight at Railbank Drive, and that should never have got to where it was. But anyway, that's been and gone. So yes, it's possible in theory. I'm happy to make those representations if you want to let me know what it is that you want, and if you've got any detail on the development, because it's not on here yet. Then I'm happy to make those on your behalf, because I agree that we don't just want a swing. Some of the play parks that have been provided needn't have been provided at all in some cases, for the use that they are. and you're right, if people are putting up with massive disruption over a couple of years from the building of a big housing estate, then at least we can give them something up front to make it a bit, to make their lives a little bit better in the meantime.
Okay, thank you.
Is that it? Is everyone done?
Can't see any more hands.
Oh well.
Super.
Thanks
All
for
right.
your talk, Mark.
No problem. If you ever want me to come about anything else, or you want to email me about anything, then just do it. Just send it over. We're always happy to take anything up. All right.
Yes,
Lovely. Thanks very much.
Thanks for
Thank
you all.
you.
See you again.
Cheers.
There you go.
Right, moving on. Item number 3 on the planning applications. HOU 2021-0016, 21 Newlands Lane. Proposed single-storey side and rear wraparound extension.
Okay, I'm just going to bring it up. There you go. Okay.
I can't see any issues with it at all, as a lot of houses on Newlands Lane have done exactly the same thing.
Is everybody, Sean, is your hand still up, or is that a new one? You're on mute, Sean. Oh, he's gone.
Sorry.
That's
Sorry.
an old one. No worries. Is everybody okay? Can I take that down, or are you still looking?
No, I think that's fine.
Okay, there you go.
Number 4, FUL 2021-0023, lower level John Peel House on Ladies Walk. Remove an existing external large smoking shelter and replace with a smaller shelter which is enclosed to prevent public access.
And there it is. Okay,
Yeah, there's no issues with that, I don't think.
okay.
Number 5, HOU 2021-0011, number 1 Park End Road. To change 2 windows to front elevation with UPVC sliding sash in white. To change front door to composite 6-panel door in black with white frame.
That's the existing outside as it is. Sean's got a hand up, Blaine.
Yeah.
Blaine, is that not a listed building?
That's probably on the, I forget what it's called, but they'll probably have to keep the, in keeping with what it's got now, won't they?
Yeah, but
Right.
does
Technical term for the,
it have to be wood?
That's the only picture I've got, sorry.
Then they go to competent. I don't know, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
To be fair, there wasn't any notes about it being a listed building, Sean, on
I think
the
I think
thing.
we need to do a little bit of investigation into that one.
Okay.
Chair, can I just comment?
Yeah, Janet, yeah.
No, it was just to say that I'm assuming that Allerdale will pick this up, because if it is listed, they wouldn't allow that to go ahead unless it was wood, would they?
No, but I do think they do want some instances when it's meant to look the same, if you know what I mean.
Right.
I think we just better,
Maybe
Janet,
say it's okay.
I think we're just better making sure than just
Yeah.
passing it.
Yeah.
Could I come in, please?
Yeah, Hillary, yeah.
Okay, I think you might find this is a conservation area.
That's the word I'm looking for.
You were
Um,
close.
It's not listed, which I can understand, you know, the difference between the two. But basically, is it a conservation area? Because we've got to be very careful with the design, whether it's plastic, as just been mentioned, should it be wood? Have we looked into that one with this area?
I've had a look on the Allerdale website. I went through it all, like there's loads of different forms that you can have a little look through. So I've had a look through those. There wasn't anything specific about that, but I'll go back with that in mind so that I can just put everybody's mind to rest whether it is or it isn't. And if it is a conservation area, I can just raise the question on the website. It's such a simple process now to do. I can do that quite quickly tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Well, Wednesday morning, because I've got meetings all day tomorrow. But yeah, it's a
I
simple
think it would
process.
be on Park End Road, to be honest.
It is I think it is a conservation area actually, but I'll leave that with you then, Catherine. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So you're going to look into that one, Catherine, for us, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
So number 6, FUL 2021 0205, 20 Derwent Road, change of use from commercial garage to a bungalow.
Hold on. There you go. That's it. That's the existing building as it stands. Okay, now just give me a sec. I'll get you the other one up as well. The one that it's going to be. Right, sorry, this is just a bit of a faff getting them up now. There you go. That's the proposed inside.
That's a lot bigger.
Yeah, that's a big walk-in wardrobe.
Bigger than my downstairs. It doesn't say that the building's going to be any bigger. It just says there's a change of use to it. Do you want me to check that? They were the only pictures that were available.
Yeah, check it.
Check it.
It seems a lot bigger than what you put up.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Bedroom tomb's out of this world, isn't it?
Aye. Big and huge.
As is the living room and kitchen.
Yeah. Don't know. Look at the proportion. That's the bath. Maybe the bath's huge and the rooms are small. Don't know. I'll double check anyway, just to make sure that we're not okay in
Thank you.
a huge increase. Okay. There you go.
Oh, well, we might as well draw the meeting to a close then.